Today, I'm going to show you a step-by-step framework I have developed over 5 years of scaling successful YouTube channels like this one to a portfolio total of 700,000 subscribers and over 300 million long-form video views. This is the exact process that I use to find hidden, low saturation, high probability of success YouTube niches, and how I analyze which niche is a good idea and establish if that niche is going to be profitable. Firstly, you want to create a new channel to do your research from. This is because then there's no previous viewer or search history impacting your search results, so in our hunt for hidden niches, YouTube will only recommend to you what you tell it to focus on. Next, pick any broad topic people are interested in and search either the name of that topic or a phrase related to it. Then use the filter function to sort by uploaded in the last 24 hours and most viewed. I'll explain why we're doing this specific action in phase 2 of the framework. Next, from the list, pick a channel which has content which looks original, aka it's not a re-upload, it doesn't look like a compilation or remix, and it's clear the channel posting it is the original producer of that content. Then, click onto a couple of their videos, give it a like, subscribe, and go back to the YouTube homepage. Now, YouTube has a small idea of the content you're interested in, and it will begin recommending to you similar content to it. But because you haven't given YouTube loads of information yet, it has to guess what you like, so the algorithm will suggest a number of different kinds of videos around the niche that you just subscribed to, meaning YouTube will begin to reveal different secondary niches to you, and it's within those that you will find areas of interest to viewers that are not completely oversaturated and that you may be able to compete in. But that's just the beginning. Now you want to view those recommended videos and identify and categorize the different secondary niches to help refine your search, because the different secondary niches do not necessarily have strong viewer overlap. For example, take soccer or football. It's a very popular sport, but within that primary niche interest, there are subcategories such as FIFA, match highlights, fantasy football, or even trick shots. These secondary niches have different viewer bases, even though all of the audience like football, and therefore you should isolate them when searching. Now, those sub-niches are very obvious as they're only one layer down from the primary niche of football, but within those secondary niches there are actually tertiary niches. For example, within the FIFA niche or FC niche, there are different game modes like Career and Ultimate Team, which are watched by different viewers within the FIFA and FC community. This is crucial to understand because it's going to be much easier as a new YouTube creator to compete in a tertiary niche because you're refining the target audience and the initial keywords that are associated with it, and therefore when you start posting, you are giving YouTube clearer instructions on who to recommend the videos to, which means you have a better chance of a high click-through rate. So, of those secondary or tertiary niches you've identified, subscribe to as many channels as you can find by going down the YouTube rabbit hole. This is when you view a video and look at the recommended column for the next video, and you follow that chain intentionally, trying to find all of the channels in that sub-niche and subscribe to all of them. To make sure you find all of them, you can also search keywords from the titles that these videos typically use and see if any more channels pop up. When you think you've found all of the channels in that secondary or tertiary niche, create a new channel to repeat the process with a different secondary or tertiary niche, so you don't cross-contaminate your search results. But how do you know which primary, secondary, or tertiary niche to even consider starting a channel in? How do you analyze YouTube search results? In order to decide which niche you should launch your channel in, assuming your goal is channel growth and to eventually make some money from it, the first filter to use is the content suitable for monetization? This means, does the content abide by YouTube guidelines, which I've linked below? Once your niche passes that test, recall in phase 1, where you filtered search results by 24 hours and most viewed. That search tells you the posting frequency in your niche, so you know how many videos you have to compete within the search results and when getting into people's recommendations. If there's 1,000 videos posted in your sub-niche every day, you will be lost in the noise of uploads, and as a new channel, no one will see your video as it will rank very low in the search results. That initial search also gives you an idea of view volume across the whole sub-niche, and an idea of how popular the main channels are. If the biggest channel in that sub-niche only gets 5,000 views per video, it's likely not going to be profitable, although this does depend on the revenue per 1,000 views, which we'll discuss later in phase 3. As a general rule of thumb, take the largest channel in the niche and calculate 25% of its average video views. This can act as a rough guide of what you can expect to get when you have scaled your channel if you do so successfully. But why only 25%? Well, the YouTube algorithm has a strong bias towards recommending active, established channels, aka incumbents. And these incumbents have an inherent advantage over you and will most likely always get more views than you. Although this is not a hard rule, if your content is significantly better and the audience builds a personal connection with you, then you can certainly push past that 25%. I just like to use this as a sensible estimation of my future view count, so when in phase 3 I'm calculating profitability, I know whether this niche is a good idea or not. Let's forget about the numbers for a second. When you're starting a YouTube channel, you're going to need to research extensively and write and edit for an audience. If you pick something intellectually rigorous, such as astrophysics, you need a good academic understanding of the subject to produce useful videos for the viewer. And they have to be extremely accurate because your audience is intelligent and well-informed. It's also going to take you significantly longer to produce those videos because of that complexity, meaning you can't release as many videos, which gives you less chances to impression the viewer, and less iterations of writing and editing videos, meaning you will not increase your skill level as quickly as if you picked a simpler niche with faster to produce videos. When I first started making YouTube channels, I trend chased because I thought it was the fastest way to grow and make some money whilst I was in university, since I was broke. This meant that I had to spend months of my time focusing on a channel that would only make money for a few months, and after I would be back to square one. So niche longevity, this is what you need, and what you need to look out for is this. Is the underlying interest evergreen? For example, sports that have been popular for decades are likely to be popular in the future. Also, is the content itself within the niche evergreen? For example, if your channel is about current news, then it's only relevant for days, not months or years. Also, is the niche interest itself growing, shrinking, or stagnating? The best way to gauge this is actually by ignoring YouTube and going to Google search trends to see how much that topic is being searched compared to the historical data. Then look through the channels you subscribe to, were any of those launched in the last 12 months and showing good signs of growth? This will tell you whether the audience is growing and if the existing audience is looking for more content and more people in that niche to watch or not. To work out revenue, the equation is actually pretty simple. Multiply views per month by the revenue earned per 1,000 views, aka RPM. But you need to figure out the RPM first for your channel, which actually has several variables, so it's a tad complicated. As a broad indication, this is the revenue per 1,000 views you might get in some popular niches. However, the actual numbers you get can vary wildly depending on a number of factors, and certainly this list does not cover every niche or sub-niche. Let's take finance and gaming as examples. Advertisers on YouTube want you to buy their product or services, so depending on how likely the viewer is to do that and how expensive what the advertiser is selling is, loosely determines how much revenue you'll get per 1,000 views. Now, in finance videos, the audience is typically adult with lots of disposable income and is therefore likely to buy what the advertiser is selling. Additionally, financial products are expensive and have huge margins for the advertiser, so this translates to a higher RPM. But in contrast, most gamers are very young, with little to no money, and the advertisers are promoting video games which are relatively speaking cheap compared to financial products. Hence, the RPM is much lower. Next, you need to consider the geography. Wealthier countries with higher disposable income are more likely to spend money on advertised products, driving up RPM. So if you can gauge the geographic composition of your potential audience before starting, it will help you guess. You can do this by using another channel which has already shared their country split in a video as a proxy, or by taking a loose guess based on the language of the videos and the commenters on existing channels in the niche. After that, you can influence your RPM via video length by increasing the number of ads and using the types of ads which are more lucrative. I actually have an Excel model I use to accurately calculate what the potential RPM of a new channel I'm launching is. If you want access to it, let me know in the comments and I'll share it with everyone in a future video once I've made it a little bit more user-friendly. If you want a shortcut, simply look for a channel in your niche that shares how much money they earn, look at their view count on Social Blade, and use that as a proxy for potential earnings. However, do not use Social Blade's estimated calculator on channel earnings, as it uses a completely arbitrary set of numbers for this and it does not consider any context other than the total views, making it useless for estimating channel revenue. When you are starting production on your channel, you have three options. One, you do it all yourself, which is time consuming but essentially free for most niches, other than the opportunity cost of what else could you have been doing with that time. Two, you outsource part of production that is not crucial to the video success, such as video editing. And three, you fully outsource production and you just have broad oversight of the content as the big man in charge. If you're going to outsource part or all of your production, the fastest way to understand how much it's going to cost is to go to Fiverr or Upwork and see what rates people are charging for writing or editing and to the level that you require for your videos. Total those up and bam, now you know how much each video is going to cost you. On a numerical basis, the framework will decide for you, as it's designed to reveal from your research niches which has the least competition, highest probability of success, and which will make the most money. However, we aren't robots. If you run this framework on an area you're really passionate about and you believe you have value to add to the current market, but the conclusion is yes, it is saturated and it's unlikely to work, then I would say do it anyway. It will be more challenging and test your patience, but ultimately more satiating to you in the long run, and you will build the skills to run a YouTube channel in the meantime, so even if the first one fails, you can try again in the future with a better chance of success. If you get stuck or have questions, just drop me a comment below and I'll get back to you. Oh, and subscribe, it's free.